Gamify your life. The 5 elements that make any task addictive. You know what makes you want to play just one more round of a game at midnight when you have work tomorrow? It is not willpower. It is not discipline. It is brain chemistry. Video games are designed to keep you engaged through specific psychological triggers that release dopamine consistently. They create what researchers call a compulsion loop, a carefully engineered system that keeps pulling you forward without you realizing it. And here is the interesting part. Those same elements can be reverse engineered and applied to the tasks you avoid. The ones that matter but feel boring. Writing that report. Going to the gym. Learning a new skill. Saving money. Building a business. The tasks that would actually change your life if you could just get yourself to do them consistently. This audiobook is for people who want to get things done without relying on motivation. Because motivation is inconsistent. It shows up some days and disappears on others. You cannot build a life on something that's unpredictable. Game design is not unpredictable. It is systematic. It is replicable. This is not for people looking for life hacks or productivity theater. This is not about waking up at 5 in the morning or taking cold showers. This is for people who want a framework that actually changes behavior. A framework based on how your brain naturally works, not how you wish it worked. By the end of this audiobook, you will understand the 5 core elements that make games addictive. And you will know how to build them into your daily tasks so you actually want to do them. Not force yourself. Not rely on discipline. Actually want to do them. Later, I will give you the 2-minute version you can start today. Right now, just listen. No need to pause or take notes. There is a toolkit in the description with all the tools and a 7-day checklist. You can use it later. For now, let me show you why your brain loves games and hates your goals. The problem and the real cause. Here is a common scenario. You sit down to work on something important. A project you have been putting off for weeks. You know it matters. You know you should do it. You open your laptop with good intentions. You stare at the screen. The cursor blinks. Nothing happens. Then you check your phone. Just for a second. 20 minutes later, you are still scrolling. You open a new tab. You tell yourself you will start in 5 minutes. You convince yourself you need coffee first. Or you need to organize your desk. Or you need to check one more thing. 30 minutes later, you have done nothing. The guilt starts building. You feel frustrated with yourself. You wonder why you cannot just do the thing. But here is what makes this worse. That same person who cannot start a 20-minute task will spend 3 hours straight playing a game without a break. No willpower needed. No self-discipline lectures. No guilt. Just pure engagement. You sit down. You start playing. 3 hours disappear. You do not check your phone. You do not get distracted. You do not need coffee breaks. So what is the difference? The difference is not you. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not lacking in discipline or willpower. The difference is structure. Games have it. Most of your tasks do not. Let me explain what I mean by structure. Games are designed to keep your brain releasing dopamine at regular intervals. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with wanting and desire. It is what creates motivation. It is the chemical signal that tells your brain to keep doing something. Your brain gets a hit when you level up. Another when you complete a quest. Another when you unlock something new. Another when you defeat an enemy. Another when you discover a hidden area. This creates what I call a dopamine trail. A series of small rewards that pull you forward without thinking about it. You are not forcing yourself to keep playing. You want to keep playing. Your brain is chasing the next dopamine hit. Your daily tasks do not have this. You set a vague goal like get healthier or be more productive. There is no immediate feedback. No visible progress. No reward for showing up today. So your brain does not release dopamine. And without dopamine, there is no motivation. You end up forcing yourself through tasks instead of being pulled toward them. Which only works for so long before you burn out. Here is a concrete example. Someone wants to write a book. They sit down with this goal in mind. They think, I need to write 50,000 words. That goal is massive. It is intimidating. When they open a blank document, they see nothing. No progress. No feedback. Just a cursor blinking on a white screen. And somewhere in the back of their mind, they know they have 50,000 words left to write. There is no dopamine in that. Only overwhelm. So they procrastinate. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow. They wait for motivation to show up. But motivation never shows up because the structure is not there. Now compare that to a game. The game does not say, defeat 10,000 enemies to win. That would be demotivating. Instead, it says, defeat 5 enemies to reach level 2. You defeat 5 enemies. Dopamine hit. You level up. Another dopamine hit. Then the game says, defeat 8 more enemies to reach level 3. You can see the progress bar filling up. You know exactly how close you are. Each step is small. Each step has a payoff. Your brain stays engaged because it keeps winning. You do not think about the 10,000 enemies you need to defeat eventually. You think about the 8 enemies you need to defeat right now. That is manageable. That is doable. And when you do it, your brain rewards you. This is the system problem. Not a you problem. Your brain is designed to respond to structure. Clear objectives. Visible progress. Immediate rewards. When those things are present, motivation is automatic. When they are absent, motivation disappears. You have been blaming yourself for something that is not your fault. If you are driving or working out, just listen. The toolkit has the full steps you can reference later. The framework. The framework is called the dopamine trail system. It has 5 core elements. Element 1. Clear objectives. You always know what to do next. Element 2. Visible progress. You can see yourself moving forward. Element 3. Rewarding effort. Completing tasks gives you something that helps you keep going. Element 4. Variety and novelty. The task does not feel repetitive. Element 5. Optimal challenge. The difficulty matches your skill level. When you build all 5 into a task, that task becomes significantly more engaging. You stop needing willpower. You start wanting to do it. That is the goal. Not to trick yourself. Not to gamble with your own brain. Just to structure tasks the way your brain naturally responds to them. Now let me break down each element with specific tools you can use. Tool 1. The next step prompt. What it is. A daily question you answer every morning that defines your immediate objective. This is the foundation of the entire system. Most people know their big goal. Run a marathon. Launch a business. Write a book. Get promoted. Build a better relationship. They can tell you what they want. But they cannot tell you what to do today. And that is the problem. Big goals do not create action. They create paralysis. You look at the mountain you need to climb and you do not know where to start. So you do not start at all. Or you start with the wrong thing. You do busy work that feels productive but does not actually move you forward. You reorganize your files. You watch tutorials. You research tools. You make plans. But you do not take the action that matters. The next step prompt fixes this. Every morning, before you do anything else, you write down the answer to this question. What is the single most important action I can take today that moves me toward my goal? Not 3 things. Not a list of 10 tasks. One thing. The one action that, if you did nothing else today, would still represent progress. This gives your brain a clear target. You know exactly what winning looks like today. You are not wondering what to do. You are not debating between options. You have defined the objective. And once your brain has a clear objective, it knows when to release dopamine. It knows when you have succeeded. When to use it. Use this every single morning before you check your phone or open your email. This is critical. If you check your phone first, your brain gets flooded with other people's priorities. Emails. Messages. News. Social media. All of that pulls your attention in different directions. By the time you sit down to work, you have already lost focus. Instead, answer the next step prompt first. It takes 2 minutes. Write it down on paper or in a notes app. 1 sentence. Then protect that priority for the first part of your day. Example. Let us say your goal is to get in shape. A vague objective like workout does not create clarity. Your brain does not know what that means. Does it mean go to the gym? Does it mean go for a run? Does it mean do 10 push-ups? The lack of specificity creates decision fatigue before you even start. Your next step prompt answer might be, go to the gym and complete 3 sets of squats. That is specific. You know exactly what you need to do. You know when you have done it. Your brain knows when to release dopamine. Another example. Your goal is to advance at work. You might answer the prompt with, finish the first draft of the quarterly report. Not work on the report. Finish the first draft. That is a completable action. When it is done, it is done. You get the win. Another example. Your goal is to learn a new language. Your answer might be, complete lesson 3 in the language app and practice pronunciation for 10 minutes. Again, specific. Measurable. Completable. 7-day mini experiment. For the next 7 days, answer the next step prompt every morning. Write it on paper or in a notes app. 1 sentence. Then do that one thing before anything else. Before email. Before meetings. Before anything that is not urgent. Track how many days you complete it. Notice how this changes your feeling of progress. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You write down 3 next steps instead of 1. You think, well, I have 3 important things today. I should list all of them. But this defeats the purpose. Your brain does not know which one matters most. So you end up doing the easiest one. Or the most urgent one. Not the most important one. And at the end of the day, you feel busy but not productive. Fix. Force yourself to pick one. If you cannot decide, ask yourself this. If I could only do one thing today, which action would create the most progress? Another way to decide is this. Which action scares me the most? That is usually the right answer. The thing you are avoiding is usually the thing that matters most. Write that one down. Do that one first. Everything else can wait. If this is useful, subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell. It helps more people find these audiobooks. Tool 2, the sub-goal chain. What it is. A method for breaking large goals into smaller milestones that each provide a sense of completion. This is how games keep you playing for hours. They do not show you the final boss on day 1. They do not say, here is everything you need to accomplish to win this game. That would be overwhelming. Instead, they give you a series of smaller objectives. Complete this level. Unlock this area. Defeat this mini-boss. Each one is achievable. Each one gives you a win. And each win makes you want to continue. Big goals do not release dopamine until they are finished. That could take months or years. Your brain loses interest long before that. It cannot sustain motivation for something that far away. Sub-goals solve this by giving you wins along the way. Each sub-goal should take no more than 1 week to complete. Ideally less. This keeps the dopamine trail active. You are always close to finishing something. When to use it? Use this whenever you are working towards something that will take longer than 2 weeks. If you can finish it in a few days, you do not need sub-goals. You can just do it. But if it is a multi-month project, break it down immediately. Otherwise, your brain will not engage with it. Example. Your goal is to write a book. That might take 6 months or a year. If you only focus on the final goal, you will not feel any progress for months. That is demotivating. Instead, create sub-goals. Sub-goal 1. Outline 10 chapters. This might take 3 days. When you finish, you get a completion hit. Sub-goal 2. Write a rough draft of chapter 1. This might take 1 week. When you finish, another completion hit. Sub-goal 3. Edit chapter 1. Another week. Another win. Sub-goal 4. Design a book cover concept. A few days. Another win. Sub-goal 5. Write chapter 2. 1 week. Another win. Notice the pattern. Each sub-goal takes 1 week or less. Each one is completable. Each one gives you something to aim for right now. You are not thinking about the entire book. You are thinking about finishing chapter 1. That is manageable. That keeps your brain engaged. Another example. Your goal is to run a marathon. That is 6 months of training. If you only focus on race day, you will not feel accomplished for 6 months. That is too long. Instead, create sub-goals. Sub-goal 1. Run 3 miles without stopping. Sub-goal 2. Run 5 miles. Sub-goal 3. Complete a 10-mile run. Sub-goal 4. Run a half marathon. Each of these is a milestone. Each one gives you proof that you are progressing. 7-day mini experiment. Take one big goal you are working on right now. Break it into 5 sub-goals. Each sub-goal should be completable in 1 week or less. Write them down. Then focus only on sub-goal 1 this week. Ignore the rest. Do not think about sub-goal 2 yet. Just complete sub-goal 1. When you finish it, notice how that feels. Then move to sub-goal 2. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You create sub-goals that are still too big. Something like finish half the book. That is not a sub-goal. That is still overwhelming. It might take 2 months. Your brain will not engage with that. Fix. If a sub-goal takes longer than 1 week, it is too big. Break it down further. Keep going until each piece feels doable in a few focus sessions. A good test is this. Can you complete this sub-goal in 5 to 7 days? If yes, it is the right size. If no, make it smaller. Tool 3, the completion log. What it is? A simple daily tracker where you record every action you took toward your goal. This makes progress visible. And visible progress is one of the most powerful motivators. Most people do not realize how much they are actually accomplishing because they only focus on what is left. You wrote 500 words today. But you only think about the 49,500 words you still need to write. You ran 3 miles. But you only think about the 23 miles you could not run yet. You saved $50. But you only think about the thousands you have not saved. This is demotivating. Your brain does not get credit for what you did. It only sees the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The completion log flips this. It shows you what you have done, not what remains. This simple shift changes everything. When you look back at your week and see that you ran 4 times, studied for 6 hours, and wrote 3,000 words, your brain registers progress. It releases dopamine. It wants to continue. When to use it? Use this at the end of every day. It takes 1 minute. Maybe 2 if you did a lot. Just write down what you completed. Not what you plan to do. Not what you wish you had done. What you actually did. This is important. The log is not a place for judgment or guilt. It is a place for facts. You did this. That is progress. Example. Let us say you are training for a race. Your completion log might look like this. Monday. Ran 3 miles in 32 minutes. Tuesday. Completed strength workout, 20 minutes. 8 exercises. Wednesday. Ran 4 miles in 45 minutes. Thursday. Rest day. Stretched for 15 minutes. Friday. Ran 2 miles. Felt tired but showed up. Saturday. Long run. 5 miles in 58 minutes. Sunday. Rest day. When you look back at this week, you see 6 days of effort. You see that you ran 14 miles total. You see that even on the hard days, you still showed up. That is visible progress. Your brain sees this and releases dopamine. Another example. You are building a business. Your completion log might look like this. Monday. Wrote 3 pages of business plan. Tuesday. Called 5 potential customers. 2 interested. Wednesday. Set up website domain and hosting. Thursday. Created first draft of pricing model. Friday. Sent proposal to first interested customer. At the end of the week, you can see movement. You are not just thinking about the business you have not launched yet. You are seeing the specific actions you took this week. 7-day mini experiment. For 7 days, write down everything you do that moves you toward your goal. Do not write what you did not do. Only write what you did. Even if it is small. Keep it simple. A few bullet points per day. At the end of the week, review the list. Notice how this changes your perception of progress. You will likely realize you did more than you thought. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You only log big wins. You ran 5 miles so you write it down. You only ran 2 miles so you skip it. You wrote 1,000 words so you log it. You only wrote 200 words so you do not. This defeats the purpose. The log is supposed to show all progress, not just the impressive days. Fix. Log everything. Small progress is still progress. 2 miles counts. 10 push-ups counts. Writing 1 paragraph counts. Showing up counts. Your brain does not care about the size of the action. It cares about the completion. It cares that you did something today. If you showed up, write it down. Another common failure mode. You write down what you did not do. Monday. Did not finish the chapter. Tuesday. Did not go to the gym. This creates a negative record. It makes you focus on failure, not progress. Fix. Only write what you did. If Monday was a bad day and you only wrote 50 words, write that. Wrote 50 words. That is something. That is progress. Keep the log positive. Keep it focused on what happened, not what did not happen. Tool 4. The progress bar technique. What it is. A visual representation of how close you are to finishing a sub-goal. Games do this brilliantly. They show you a bar filling up as you gain experience. You see the bar at 60%. You know you are close. Your brain gets excited. It wants to see that bar hit 100%. So you keep playing. You can do the same with your tasks. This creates a pull toward completion. When you see you are 80% done with something, you want to finish it. It becomes almost magnetic. The closer you get, the harder it is to stop. When to use it? Use this for any task that has measurable steps. Writing a certain number of words. Completing a certain number of workouts. Reading a certain number of books. Saving a specific amount of money. Anything you can count or measure. Example. You want to read 12 books this year. That is your goal. Every time you finish a book, you update your progress bar. 1 out of 12. 8%. You finish another book. 2 out of 12. 17%. You keep going. By June, you are at 7 out of 12. 58%. Your brain sees this. You are past halfway. You want to keep that momentum. When you hit 9 out of 12, you can see the finish line. 75%. Your brain gets excited. You read faster. You make more time for reading. You want to hit that target. Another example. You want to save $5,000 in local currency for an emergency fund. You create a simple progress tracker. Every week, you update it. Week 1. $200 saved. 4%. Week 2. $400 saved. 8%. Week 10. $2,000 saved. 40%. When you see 40%, you feel accomplished. You are almost halfway. That motivates you to keep going. By week 20, you might be at 80%. You can almost taste the finish line. You make extra effort to get there. 7-day mini experiment. Pick one goal with a clear finish line. Create a simple progress tracker. This can be a spreadsheet, a checklist on paper, an app, even a piece of paper with boxes you fill in. The format does not matter. What matters is that you can see your progress visually. Update it every time you make progress. Even small progress. Watch how it affects your motivation when you get close to finishing. You will notice that the closer you get, the more you want to finish. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You track progress toward a goal that is too far away. Something like 0% toward retiring at age 55. Or 1% toward buying a house. Seeing 0% or 1% does nothing for your brain. It is too far away. It does not create motivation. It creates overwhelm. Fix. Track progress toward the nearest milestone, not the final destination. If your big goal is to save $500,000 in local currency for retirement, do not track that. That will take decades. Your brain cannot engage with that timeline. Instead, track progress toward saving your first $5,000. That is achievable within months. That releases dopamine. When you hit $5,000, celebrate. Then create a new progress bar for the next 5,000. Break the massive goal into a series of smaller progress bars. This keeps your brain engaged over the long term. Tool 5. The Layered Progress System. What it is? A method for tracking multiple goals at once so you are always close to finishing something. Games do not just have one progress bar. They have several running simultaneously. Character level, skill level, equipment upgrades, quest completion, achievement unlocks. This design is intentional. It keeps you engaged because even if you are far from leveling up your character, you might be one quest away from completion, or 2 kills away from unlocking an achievement. There is always something close to finishing. This creates constant momentum. You can replicate this in your life. When to use it? Use this when you are working on more than one goal at the same time. Most people are. You want to get healthier. You want to advance at work. You want to learn a new skill. You want to improve your relationships. You want to build savings. If you only track one of these, you will have days where you make no progress on that goal. Those days feel wasted. But if you track all of them, you eliminate wasted days. You always make progress somewhere. Example. You have 3 goals. Health, career, learning. For health, you track workouts per week. Your target is 4 workouts. For career, you track completed projects. Your target is finishing 1 project this month. For learning, you track hours spent studying. Your target is 5 hours this week. On Monday, you might not work out, but you finish a project at work. Progress on career. Dopamine hit. On Tuesday, you might not study, but you complete a workout. Progress on health. Dopamine hit. On Wednesday, you study for 2 hours. Progress on learning. Dopamine hit. You are always moving forward somewhere. Even if you have a bad day in one area, you can make progress in another. This prevents the feeling that the whole day was wasted. Another example. You are working on 3 areas. Writing a book. Building a side business. Getting in shape. You track pages written per week. You track revenue generated per month. You track miles run per week. Some days you write 5 pages but do not run. Some days you run 3 miles but do not write. Some days you land a new customer but do not do either. All of these are wins. All of these create progress. Your brain gets dopamine regardless of which area you made progress in. 7-day mini experiment. Identify 3 goals you are working on. They should be in different areas of your life. Create a simple tracker for each one. It can be as simple as 3 columns in a notebook, or 3 sections in a notes app. Update all 3 at the end of every day. Write what you did in each area. Even if it is nothing in one area, you probably did something in another. Notice how this eliminates the feeling of wasted days. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You track too many things. 10 goals with 10 progress bars. This creates decision fatigue. You wake up and you do not know what to focus on today. Should you work on goal 1? Goal 5? Goal 8? You spend more time deciding than doing. Fix. Limit it to 3 goals maximum. 3 is manageable. 3 keeps your attention focused. More than 3, and you dilute your effort. You end up making minimal progress on everything instead of meaningful progress on a few things. Pick your 3 most important areas right now. Focus on those. When you complete one, you can add another. Tool 6. The Milestone Reward. What it is? A predetermined reward you give yourself when you hit a specific sub-goal. Rewards work. This is not controversial. Your brain is wired to seek them. Every behavioral psychology study confirms this. But most people reward themselves incorrectly. They work hard for a week, then reward themselves with something that destroys their progress. They eat healthy all week, then eat an entire pizza and a pint of ice cream on Sunday. They save money for a month, then blow $300 on something they do not need. They exercise consistently for 2 weeks, then reward themselves by not exercising for the next week. That is not a reward. That is self-sabotage. Imagine playing a game where completing a quest made your character weaker. You finish the quest and you lose levels. You would stop playing. Yet in real life, we do this constantly. The milestone reward fixes this. The reward must reinforce the behavior, not undermine it. When to use it? Use this every time you complete a sub-goal. Not the final goal. The sub-goal. The small win. This keeps rewards frequent. Frequent rewards keep dopamine flowing. Example. You are training for a race. You hit your first milestone. You ran 30 miles total this month. That is your sub-goal. Now you need a reward. A bad reward would be skipping your next 3 runs. That undermines your progress. A good reward would be new running shoes. This makes future runs easier. It makes running more enjoyable. It reinforces the habit. Another example. You are learning to code. You complete your first small project. A working calculator app. That is your sub-goal. A bad reward would be taking a 2-week break from coding. A good reward would be a premium online course or a better code editor. Something that helps you keep learning. Something that makes the next project easier or more enjoyable. Another example. You are building savings. You hit your first milestone. $1,000 in local currency saved. A bad reward would be spending $300 of it on something unnecessary. A good reward would be opening a higher interest savings account. Or buying a book on investing. Something that helps you save or grow money better. 7-day mini experiment. Set one sub-goal for this week. Something completable in 7 days. Before you start, decide on your reward. Make sure the reward reinforces the behavior. Ask yourself this question. Will this reward make the next step easier or more enjoyable? If yes, it is a good reward. If no, pick something else. Then complete the sub-goal and claim the reward without guilt. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You pick a reward that works against you. You study for 10 hours this week, so you reward yourself by not studying for the next 3 days. You worked out 5 times, so you reward yourself by skipping the gym all weekend. You wrote 2,000 words, so you reward yourself by not writing for a week. These rewards reset your progress. They break your momentum. Fix. The reward must make future effort easier or more enjoyable. Not harder. Ask yourself this before choosing a reward. Does this reward help me continue, or does it reset my progress? If it resets progress, pick something else. Good rewards compound. They make the next phase easier. They remove friction. They add enjoyment. Bad rewards create friction. They make the next phase harder. They break momentum. Choose rewards that compound. If this is useful, subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell. It helps more people find these audiobooks. Quick recap, and remember, the toolkit is there so you can revisit this without rewinding. Midpoint recap. You have learned 6 tools so far. Tool 1. The next step prompt. Gives you a clear daily objective. Tool 2. The sub-goal chain. Breaks big goals into small wins. Tool 3. The completion log. Makes progress visible. Tool 4. The progress bar technique. Shows how close you are to finishing. Tool 5. The layered progress system. Tracks multiple goals so you are always progressing somewhere. Tool 6. The milestone reward. Reinforces behavior instead of sabotaging it. If you only do one thing from this audiobook, start with the next step prompt. Every morning, answer this question. What is the single most important action I can take today that moves me toward my goal? Then do that one thing. That alone will change your output. Now let me shift into the second half. This is where we talk about variety, novelty, and challenge. The elements that keep tasks interesting long-term. Tool 7. The novelty rotation. What it is. A strategy for introducing small changes to routine tasks so they do not feel repetitive. Humans get bored doing the same thing over and over. This is not a character flaw. This is how your brain works. Your brain is designed to notice new things and ignore familiar ones. This is called habituation. It is an evolutionary survival mechanism. When something is new, your brain pays attention because it might be a threat or an opportunity. When something is familiar, your brain stops paying attention because it has already categorized it. This is why the first day at a new job feels interesting and the 100th day feels boring. Nothing about the job changed. Your brain changed. It habituated. Games know this. They constantly introduce new enemies, new levels, new rewards, new mechanics. This prevents habituation. Your brain stays engaged. You can do the same with your daily tasks. The change does not have to be massive. It just has to be different enough to re-engage your attention. When to use it? Use this whenever a task starts feeling boring. Even if it is important. Even if you need to keep doing it. Boredom is a signal that your brain has habituated. You need to introduce novelty. Example. You work from home and your job involves the same type of work every day. Writing reports. Analyzing data. Attending meetings. After 6 months, it feels dull. Nothing about the work changed. Your experience of it changed. You introduce novelty by changing your environment. Work from a coffee shop one day a week. Or from a library. Or rearrange your desk. Or work from a different room in your house. Or listen to a new type of background music. Or change the time you start work. The work itself has not changed. But the context has. That is enough to re-engage your brain. Another example. You have been running the same route for 3 months. It is getting boring. You introduce novelty by running a different route. Or running at a different time of day. Or listening to a different playlist. Or running with a friend instead of alone. The activity is the same. The details are different. That is enough. 7-day mini experiment. Pick one routine task you do every day or every week. For the next 7 days, change one small thing about how you do it. Different time of day. Different location. Different method. Different music. Different tool. Track whether the task feels less boring. You will likely notice that even a tiny change makes the task feel fresh again. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You change too much at once. You completely overhaul your entire routine. New schedule. New location. New tools. New process. This creates chaos, not novelty. Your brain gets overwhelmed. You lose the structure that was helping you. Fix. Change one variable at a time. Keep everything else the same. Small tweaks work better than total reinvention. If you change your work location, keep your schedule the same. If you change your schedule, keep your location the same. One change is enough to prevent habituation without creating chaos. Tool 8. The Skill Expansion Method. What it is? A way to add challenge and novelty by learning a related skill within your existing goal. This is different from the novelty rotation. The novelty rotation changes the context. The skill expansion method changes what you are capable of. Let us say you are working on the same project at work for 6 months. It is getting repetitive. You could switch to a completely different project. But that would mean starting over. You would lose all your progress. Instead, you expand your skill set within that project. You learn a new software tool that makes the work easier. You try a new approach you have never used before. You take on a piece of the project you have never done. This keeps your brain stimulated without abandoning progress. You are still working toward the same goal. But you are developing new capabilities along the way. When to use it? Use this when you are committed to a long-term goal but starting to lose interest. You do not want to quit. You just need more challenge. Example. You are training for a marathon. After 3 months of running, it feels monotonous. Same routes. Same pace. Same routine. You introduce the skill expansion method. You add hill sprints 1 day a week. You learn about running form and try to improve your technique. You experiment with different pacing strategies. You add strength training specifically for runners. You are still training for a marathon. But now you are learning something new within that activity. Your brain stays engaged. Another example. You are learning a language. You have been using the same app for 6 months. It is getting boring. You expand your approach. You add conversation practice with a native speaker. You start watching shows in that language. You try reading news articles instead of just doing app exercises. The goal has not changed. You are still learning the language. but you have added new methods. This keeps it interesting. 7-day mini experiment. Identify one skill related to your main goal that you have not developed yet. Something that would make you better at the goal. Spend at least 2 sessions this week working on that skill. See if it makes the overall goal feel more engaging. You will likely find that adding a new dimension to your existing goal makes it feel fresh again. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You expand into a skill that does not actually help your main goal. You are writing a book, so you decide to learn graphic design. That is interesting. But it is not expanding your writing. It is a distraction. You are training for a race, so you decide to learn yoga. Yoga might be beneficial, but it is not directly improving your running. Fix. The new skill must be related. It must make you better at the main goal. Not distract from it. If you are writing a book, learn about story structure. Or learn how to write better dialogue. Or learn about character development. These skills directly improve your writing. If you are training for a race, learn about proper running form. Or nutrition for endurance athletes. Or race strategy. These skills directly improve your racing. The expansion should add depth to your existing goal, not breadth into unrelated areas. Tool 9. The Challenge Dial. What it is. A system for adjusting the difficulty of a task to match your current skill level. This is the most important element for long-term engagement. If a task is too hard, you give up. Your brain sees the challenge as impossible. It stops trying. If a task is too easy, you get bored. Your brain sees no challenge. It loses interest. Games adjust difficulty constantly. You start at level 1 fighting weak enemies that you can easily defeat. This builds confidence. As you improve, the enemies get stronger. The challenges increase. But they increase at the same rate as your skill. You are always operating at the edge of your ability. Not beyond it. Not below it. Right at the edge. This is called the optimal challenge zone. It is where engagement happens. You can do the same with your tasks by adjusting the difficulty dial. When to use it? Use this whenever a task feels overwhelming or boring. If it feels overwhelming, dial the difficulty down. If it feels boring, dial it up. Example. You want to start exercising. Going to the gym for an hour feels overwhelming. You have not exercised in years. An hour is too much. You dial the challenge down. You commit to 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. That is doable. That does not trigger resistance. You do 10 minutes for 2 weeks. Now 10 minutes feels easy. It is no longer challenging. You dial the challenge up. Now you do 20 minutes. This feels right. It is challenging but not overwhelming. You do 20 minutes for another 2 weeks. Again, it starts feeling easy. You dial up to 30 minutes. You keep adjusting based on how it feels. Another example. You are learning to code. You start with basic tutorials. After a month, they feel too easy. You are getting bored. You dial the challenge up. You attempt to build a small project from scratch. This feels hard again. But it is the right kind of hard. Challenging, not impossible. 7-day mini experiment. Pick one task that feels either too hard or too easy. If it is too hard, cut it in half. Cut the time in half. Or cut the scope in half. Or cut the complexity in half. If it is too easy, add a constraint. Add a time limit. Add a higher quality standard. Add more volume. Track how this affects your engagement. You will notice that when the difficulty matches your skill, you want to keep doing the task. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You dial the challenge too high too fast. You go from 10 minutes of exercise to 90 minutes in 1 week. This is not gradual. This is a jump. Your body is not ready. You burn out. You get injured. You quit. Fix. Increase difficulty by 10 to 20% at a time. Not double. Not triple. 10 to 20%. If you are doing 20 minutes, the next step is 22 to 24 minutes. Not 40 minutes. Gradual progression keeps you in the optimal zone. It prevents burnout. It prevents injury. It maintains engagement. Tool 10. The time pressure lever. What it is? A method for making boring tasks more engaging by adding a time constraint. Some tasks just have to get done. Filing paperwork. Answering emails. Organizing files. Data entry. Administrative work. These are not exciting. They are necessary. But you cannot skip them. And you cannot make them inherently interesting. What you can do is make them more challenging. You add time pressure. You race the clock. This turns a boring task into a game. When to use it? Use this on tasks that are necessary but boring. Tasks you cannot skip. Tasks that do not naturally engage you. Example. You have to respond to 20 emails. Normally this takes an hour and feels tedious. Every email feels like a drag. You check your phone between emails. You get distracted. You set a timer for 30 minutes. Now you are trying to finish all 20 emails before the timer runs out. This forces focus. It eliminates distraction. You do not have time to check your phone. You do not have time to overthink each email. You write. Send. Next. The task has not changed. You are still responding to 20 emails. But now your brain is engaged because you are competing against the clock. Another example. You have to clean your workspace. Normally this takes 30 minutes and you hate it. You set a timer for 15 minutes. Now you are trying to clean as much as possible before the timer ends. You move faster. You make quick decisions about what stays and what goes. The boring task becomes a challenge. 7-day mini experiment. Identify one boring task you have to do this week. Set a timer for half the time you normally spend on it. Not impossible time. Just tight time. Try to finish before the timer ends. Notice how the time pressure changes your focus. You will likely finish faster than you thought possible. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You set the time limit so short that you rush and make mistakes. You normally spend 60 minutes on a task. You set a timer for 15 minutes. You rush through it. Quality drops. You make errors. You have to redo work. This defeats the purpose. Fix. The time limit should be tight but realistic. If a task normally takes 60 minutes, try 50 minutes. Not 20. You want pressure, not panic. The goal is to increase focus, not sacrifice quality. A good rule is to reduce time by 15 to 25%. Not 50%. This creates enough pressure to engage your brain without forcing you to cut corners. Tool 11. The Micro-Experiment Framework. What it is? A low-stakes way to test new approaches before fully committing. Most people do not start because they are afraid of failing. They want guarantees before they begin. They want to know it will work. But guarantees do not exist. So they wait. They research. They plan. They never start. Games do not work that way. In a game, you try something. You see what happens. If it works, you keep doing it. If it does not work, you try something else. There is no fear. There is no judgment. Just experimentation. You can do the same. Turn questions into experiments. When to use it? Use this whenever you are unsure if something will work. Instead of debating it for weeks, test it for a few days. Example. You are not sure if waking up an hour earlier will make you more productive. You could spend weeks thinking about it. Reading articles. Asking people. Wondering. Or you could run a micro-experiment. You wake up an hour earlier for 5 days. You track how you feel. You track how much you get done. You track your energy levels. After 5 days, you have data. Real data from your actual life. Not theories. Not other people's experiences. Your experience. You decide based on results, not guesses. Another example. You want to know if working in 25-minute blocks with 5-minute breaks makes you more focused. You test it for 1 week. You measure how much you complete compared to your normal approach. After 1 week, you know if it works for you. If it does, you keep it. If it does not, you try something else. 7-day mini experiment. Pick one change you have been thinking about making. Something you are curious about but uncertain. Commit to testing it for 7 days only. Just 7 days. This is low stakes. You are not committing forever. You are just testing. Track one simple metric. Energy level. Output. Mood. Time saved. Something measurable. After 7 days, review the data. Did it work? Did it not? Then decide whether to keep it. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. You run the experiment but do not track anything. At the end, you have no idea if it worked. You just have a vague feeling. Feelings are unreliable. Fix. Define success before you start. Write down what you are testing. Write down how you will measure it. Keep it simple. One metric is enough. At the end of the experiment, you should be able to say yes, this worked, or no, this did not work. Not maybe. Not I am not sure. Clear data leads to clear decisions. Tool 12. The Reset Ritual. What it is. A specific action you take when you get off track that lets you restart without guilt. Everyone fails. Everyone misses days. You miss a workout. You skip a day of writing. You break your budget. You eat the thing you said you would not eat. This is normal. This is human. The problem is not the failure. The problem is what happens next. Most people spiral. They think, I already messed up, so I might as well give up. I missed one workout, so I will skip the rest of the week. I ate one cookie, so I will eat the whole box. I broke my budget once, so budgets do not work for me. This is catastrophic thinking. One mistake becomes total collapse. Games do not do this. If you die in a game, you respawn. You do not quit. You do not spiral. You start again from the last checkpoint. No guilt. No judgment. Just restart. You need a respawn button for your goals. That is what the reset ritual is. When to use it? Use this immediately after you miss a day or break a streak. Do not wait. Do not dwell. Reset immediately. Example. Your reset ritual could be this simple. Write down what happened. One sentence. No judgment. Missed my run today because of a work emergency. That is it. No beating yourself up. No analyzing every detail. Just state what happened. Then write down what you will do tomorrow. One action. Will run 3 miles tomorrow morning. That is it. You have reset. You are back on track. Another example. Ate pizza when I said I would not. That is what happened. Will eat according to plan tomorrow. That is what is next. Done. Reset complete. The ritual gives you a way to acknowledge the mistake without spiraling. 7-day mini experiment. Create your own reset ritual. Write it down now. Make it short. 2 to 3 steps maximum. Step 1. Write what happened, 1 sentence. Step 2. Write what is next, 1 action. That is it. The next time you get off track, use it. Do not skip it. Do not overthink it. Just do the ritual. Then move forward. Common failure mode and fix. Failure mode. Your reset ritual is too complicated. It involves journaling for 30 minutes. Reflecting on your entire life. Rewriting your goals. Calling a friend to process your feelings. You never actually do it because it is too much work. Fix. Keep it simple. Write 1 sentence about what happened. Write 1 sentence about what is next. 2 minutes maximum. The simpler it is, the more likely you are to actually use it. And using it is what matters. The ritual is not about deep introspection. It is about breaking the spiral and getting back on track immediately. This is exactly what the toolkit is for. So keep listening now, then use the checklist later when you are at your desk. The 7-day Rewire Plan and Checklist. Here is how to implement this framework in 7 days. This is your action plan. Each day has a specific focus and a time limit. Do not skip days. Do not try to do everything at once. Follow the sequence. Day 1. 10 minutes. Answer the next step prompt. Sit down with a piece of paper or open a notes app. Write down the single most important action you can take today toward one goal. Just one goal. Pick the one that matters most right now. Then do that action. Complete it before moving to anything else. This establishes the foundation. You are teaching your brain what it means to have a clear objective. Day 2. 15 minutes. Break one big goal into 5 sub-goals. Take the goal you picked on day 1. Break it down. Write 5 sub-goals that lead to the big goal. Each sub-goal should take 1 week or less to complete. Be specific. Write them down clearly. Then focus only on the first sub-goal this week. Do not think about sub-goal 2 yet. Do not plan for sub-goal 3. Just focus on sub-goal 1. Day 3. 5 minutes. Start your completion log. At the end of today, write down what you did that moved you forward. Even if it is small. Even if it does not feel like much. Write it down. This creates visible progress. Your brain needs to see evidence that you are moving. Day 4. 10 minutes. Create a progress bar for your current sub-goal. This can be simple. A spreadsheet with a formula. A piece of paper with boxes. An app that tracks progress. The format does not matter. What matters is that you can see how close you are to finishing sub-goal 1. Update it with your progress so far. If you are 10% done, mark it. If you are 30% done, mark it. Make the progress visible. Day 5. 15 minutes. Pick one routine task and introduce novelty. Something you do regularly that is starting to feel boring. Change one thing about it. The time you do it. The location. The method. The tool you use. See if it feels less boring with that one small change. This teaches your brain that boredom is solvable. You do not have to quit tasks when they get boring. You just have to change something about them. Day 6. 10 minutes. Use the challenge dial. Pick one task that feels too hard or too easy. If it is too hard, cut it in half. If it is too easy, add a constraint. Then do the adjusted version. Notice how it feels when the difficulty matches your skill level. This is the optimal challenge zone. Your brain engages here. Day 7. 5 minutes. Review your week. Sit down with your notes. Look at what you did. Ask yourself 3 questions. What worked? What did not work? What will you keep doing? Write down your answers. This is not about judgment. This is about learning. You just ran a 7-day experiment. Now you have data about what works for you. This is the 2-minute version if you want to start right now. Before anything else tomorrow morning, answer this question. What is the single most important action I can take today that moves me toward my goal? Write it down. 1 sentence. Do that one thing before checking email. Before social media. Before anything else. Start tomorrow. That is it. Do this every day for a week and notice what changes. Closing summary. 3 things to remember from this audiobook. 1. Your brain responds to structure, not motivation. Games have clear objectives, visible progress, rewards, variety, and optimal challenge. Most of your tasks do not have these elements. Add them and your brain will engage. You will stop forcing yourself and start wanting to do the work. 2. Progress must be visible. Track what you do, not what you have left to do. Your completion log shows you evidence of movement. Your progress bar shows you how close you are to finishing. This keeps dopamine flowing. This keeps motivation alive. 3. Difficulty must match skill level. Too hard, you quit. Too easy, you get bored. Right in the middle, you engage. Adjust constantly using the challenge dial. Stay in the optimal zone where learning happens. Your next step for today is simple. Answer the next step prompt. What is the single most important action you can take today that moves you toward your goal? Write it down. Then do it. Everything else can wait. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell. And check out the free toolkit in the description so you do not have to take notes. And share this with one friend who has goals but struggles to start. Once they learn to structure tasks like games, they will stop relying on motivation and start building momentum. The dopamine trail system works because it aligns with how your brain naturally operates. You are not fighting against yourself anymore. You are working with your brain instead of against it. And that makes all the difference.